So your vocational choices, did you have one early on that you'd followed when you were first married? Did you?
Well, no, because I got married and I had my kids and I was a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, okay.
And we moved to Vancouver so my husband could go back to university.
Yeah.
So then when he finished, he said, okay, Marilyn, you've got to go back and finish your degree. So I did, and that led to graduate work, and then I just sort of fell into the job of archives out at VST for BC Conference, and I did 2 semesters of teaching at Langara College, and then an opening came at VST, and I was asked if I would take it, and yes, I would take it, and I just sort of lucked into I didn't plan anything, I just lucked into it, and there were things I was interested in, and it worked out.
Now, you've used the language lucked into. Would you also be open to the language of call? Would you feel that there was a call, perhaps?
But I didn't go looking for it.
No.
People came and offered me things. And I could decide whether it was right or not, and it just seemed to be the natural thing to do because I was interested in what they were asking. For instance, the professor of church history resigned from VST. It was actually, yes, it was VST by that time, in April or May. Well, it was too soon. There wasn't enough time to get another permanent replacement. So Jim Martin, knowing that I was interested in Canadian church history and I was working in the archives then, came and asked me if I would pick up a couple of courses in church history. Well, why not? It was right there, and I was working
and you
in
knew
the same
it.
building.
You knew the information. I had access to it.
I had it all at my fingertips.
Yeah.
And so that led from there, and then they found out that I had other activities, so I filled in as an assistant to continue education because I had shown that I had some administrative skills. So as I say, it was just one of those things that these openings came up. They were VST was going to the United Church nationally was setting up student aid counselors across the country. And United Church minister who was on BC Conference executive knew of me, and he thought I would make a good person, so I was hired. Okay, on his, he was supposed to find somebody, and he asked me. The same when the chaplaincy opened up. I was around there, and Jim Martin actually again said, would I take that? He thought I had skills to do that. So, yes, I was interested in doing that, and it would involve some teaching and some of my other skills and interests.
And training.
Yeah. And I had already been leading a lot of groups in terms of theology and Bible study and liturgy and this kind of through the continuing education program. So, So that it was just, as I say, somebody come and ask me. Now, it was suggested that I might become executive secretary of BC Conference, and I decided that was not for me. I knew what I had my skills in and what I was interested in. I didn't want straight administration. And there was a couple of national jobs that people approached me for. And I had no intention of commuting across the country or moving the family. That my roots were here. So I was able to say no. And actually, United Church minister nationally, he became a friend of mine. I was really struggling with these job propositions that were coming to me, but also committees and what to be on what committees, because I couldn't get myself overextended and whatnot. And he worked out with, I can see us, we sat at a table out on the sidewalk on Bloor Street when the national office was on Bloor Street, having lunch and working this out. And for me, my criteria boiled down to it had to be fun. In other words, it had to be fun, and I liked the people, or thought I would like the people I would be working for. I had to have a learning curve. I needed to be able to learn from whatever it was I was going to be doing in this volunteer work. And the third one was that I had to be able to it had to be a very worthwhile thing that I believed in. And there was no particular order, but it had to meet all those 3 criteria before I would even consider it and say yes. And that really worked for me. And that happened probably in the early 80s. And except for one committee, national committee I was on, they were all successful and met all 3 of those criteria.